Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Wow, it's been such a long time since I've done one of these sit down videos. It's just because things have been so hectic. As you guys may know, I have recently bought a property and I am sort of renovating that, and that process in itself is just really stressful. I'm trying to pack the stuff at my mum's house, so it's just really a lot. Initially I did say that I wasn't going to do a sit down video until after I've moved into my new house and I'm more settled and everything's in its place, but I have had so many requests to do this video, and I just thought, you know what, let me just do this one video to answer any burning questions, and then, you know, once I'm more settled I can sort of go in more detail and do some more videos and do like a series on all things mortgages. Before we actually get into the video, I just want to use this time to sort of appreciate God's blessing. To be able to have bought my first home at the age of 24 is just mind-blowing. I used to spend hours and hours and hours just watching renovation vlogs, watching people buying their home, praying to God, and it was just something that I wanted for a really long time. By His grace, I'm able to achieve it, and that's one of the reasons why I really want to sort of share my knowledge, because I feel like sometimes God blesses you to be able to bless other people, and I just want people to be able to know that it is possible at such a young age to get onto the property ladder. And I hope that this video encourages people to start looking into the process, start you know, saving and doing all these things, because it is possible, and I am living testimony that it is possible. I also want to thank a few people that have really been and stood by me during this time. And I don't really know how I'm going to structure this video yet. I think I might start off by just answering some like basic, or giving you guys basic information about the property that I bought, talk to you guys about like the process of buying a home. Let's get straight into the video. Okay, so basic information about my property. I did purchase a 3-bedroom house in Essex. I don't really want to say the area for privacy reasons, but it's in Essex and it's about 45 minute drive from central London. The house for £255,000. The deposit was £29,000 and the mortgage was 226,999, I think. Aside from like the actual deposit that you need to secure the house, you also need to factor in some other additional costs. 3 additional things that I had to pay for on top of putting down a deposit for the house, and this does not contribute to the house price. This is just completely separate. So I had to pay my solicitors, do the job and put the house in my name. I had to pay my mortgage broker or advisor, and this cost me £600, around that price. And then I also had to pay for a survey of the house, and I did a home buyer survey, and that cost me about £300 to £350. Alright, so I'm gonna get into discussing sort of like the process, or yeah, the skeleton process I'm gonna call it, because anyone who has a mortgage knows that it's not that simple and it's not straightforward. Now I want you guys to remember, before I, you know, carry on, I'm not a mortgage expert, I'm not a mortgage advisor, I'm just sort of explaining from what I've been able to gather. So yeah, we're going to call it the skeleton process. Okay, so technically the first step is to save, but I'm not going to be talking about saving in this video. So after you've saved a good chunk of money, you want to meet with a mortgage advisor or a broker. The first step is basically to assess your finances. 2 ways you could do this. You could either go directly to banks, which I don't really advise if this is your first time buying a property and you're not really clued up on like the process and how to buy property and stuff like that. I wouldn't recommend that, because banks will only give you their mortgage deals, so you're very limited and you don't really know what you're looking for, or if you can get a good deal elsewhere. The second option is to go through a mortgage broker or a mortgage advisor, and these are people who do this day in day out, and their job is to basically assess your finances and find the best mortgage deal for you. And it also helps because they liaise on your behalf with the bank, so all the paperwork that is involved in securing a mortgage and getting a mortgage, the broker actually does for you. So it's actually, you know, very hassle-free. The way I found my mortgage broker was I went on like an online comparison site. There's a few things that I would say about mortgage brokers. Definitely don't go with one. So I spoke to about 7 mortgage brokers, and I got 7 different people to assess my finances. And I'm going to talk to you about why my sort of situation or my financial situation was quite complex, but I had to speak to 7, and you'll be surprised because each of those 7 people gave me a different budget, and I explained the same situation to all 7 of them. So it's really important that when you are talking to mortgage brokers, don't just talk to one, talk to multiple, and then find the best one that can give you the best deal, basically. Because the second advice is that mortgage brokers work in 2 ways as well. There's going to be a lot of information in this video, so you know, you can pause it now and go and get something to drink, because I'm really going to give you one-on-one mortgage advice. Mortgage brokers essentially is the middleman between you and the bank. If they secure you a deal with a certain bank, they get a commission from that bank. So that's why sometimes you get mortgage brokers that do not charge you for their services. And you also get mortgage brokers that get the commission off the bank, but they also charge you for their services. What I did find in speaking to the 7 mortgage brokers, mortgage advisors that I had, what I did find is the ones that didn't charge me for their services weren't willing to put in the work because they're not getting extra money. And because my situation was quite complex, a lot of the mortgage advisors that didn't charge were very sort of negative about my situation. There was one lady in particular that I had to write off because she was so rude. She basically, when I told her about my financial situation, she was basically like, "How old are you?" I told her, I said 24, and she was like, "You're gonna have to wait a few more years and save because you're not gonna be able to get a mortgage with your financial situation." That's exactly what she told me, and here I am today with a 3-bedroom house. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like if you don't know about the mortgage process, that in itself is enough to sort of put you off. And this is why I'm saying do not go to just one mortgage advisor. You need to go to a few to get a range and to understand really what you can afford. I basically found that the people that helped me the most, or the people that were able to give me good advice and a good sort of budget to work with, are people that I had to pay on top of them getting a commission from the bank. Now, broker fees range from like £400 to £600, and what they do is they basically ask for like your pay slips, they ask for like your financial situations, and what you will get from a mortgage broker is an agreement in principle. And this agreement in principle is basically from the bank just saying that the bank is willing to lend you this much money. A big chunk of you being able to buy that house is coming from the lender. Just to give you guys an idea of how the simple equation works, I'm going to give you 2 different scenarios. So let's say there's a house on the market for £300,000, right? This is just a rough sort of guide. Again, it depends on a lot of factors, but roughly they say that the bank will lend you 4 times your annual salary. All right, so we have person A. This person makes 20,000 a year, and person B makes 50 grand a year. So person A, the bank is only probably going to give this person £80,000. Person B, the bank is probably going to give this person £200,000. The person who has £80,000 from the bank, they are going to need to have £220,000 in deposit to be able to buy that £300,000 house. Whereas person B is going to need £100,000 in deposit to be able to buy a £300,000 house. Whatever the bank is willing to lend you, you would need to make up the deposit amount to be able to purchase the house. There's 2 ways you can manipulate that equation to work in your favor. One of them is that you have a really, really high deposit, and the other one is that you make your annual salary look larger than it is so that the bank can lend you more money so that you can purchase a higher priced house. Now that you have your agreement in principle, you want to start looking for houses. There's websites like Rightmove, Zoopla, lots of online places where you can search for homes. Let's say you find a house that you really, really like. You go for a viewing, and now it's time to negotiate a price. Usually people market houses higher than what they're willing to accept. I always start off at a low price, then work my way up. People always like first-time buyers because you're not in a chain. Once you put in on your offer, there's 3 options. The seller can straight away decline it, the seller can accept it, or the seller can come back to you with a reasonable offer, and it's up to you whether you decide to take it or you want to renegotiate it. So let's say you both finalize on a price. Then once the offer is accepted, you need to appoint a solicitor. Now some of these things you'll have to be doing at the same time, so it's not like bam 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 bam, but there's a flow. Your solicitor can start doing the legal process of transferring that house into your name. This process can take a really long time. On average they say it takes about 2 months, to be honest, 2 to 3 months, but it all depends on your situation. It all depends on if there's a chain. It depends on a lot of things. Once the offer accepted and you've appointed your solicitor, this is when you do have to go back to your mortgage advisor or your broker, and you basically tell them that you're ready to proceed with a mortgage application. This is the scary part, because as I was saying before, you need the money from the bank to be able to afford the house. So this is the scary part, because once you put the mortgage application through, that's when you know for sure whether the bank's going to lend you the money and how much they're going to lend you. So the mortgage broker will do his thing. He will make the application on your behalf, and then you have to wait for the bank to get back to you and offer you the mortgage. This is when they do the hard check. So this is when they really scrutinize your finances. I think they send it to an underwriter as well, and an underwriter is someone who assesses the risk, the financial risk basically. While the mortgage application is being assessed and the solicitors are doing their thing, this is where you have to get your survey done. A survey is basically an independent person who comes in, evaluates the property, but also gives you like an idea of the condition of the house. So there's a basic one, I think, which no one recommends. Then there's a home buyer survey, and then there's a structural survey. The survey is actually not compulsory, but I think it's really important if you're spending this much money and you're purchasing something of this price, that you understand what you're buying and you can make an informed decision. Then your mortgage offer comes in, the lender's happy to lend you the money. Mortgage lender will then send the offer, or your mortgage broker will send the offer letter to your solicitor. Your solicitor will then sort of finalize everything, and then once your solicitor has done what he needs to do, exchange of contract. This is where the sale is legally binding. So up until exchange, you can decide that you want to pull out, you don't want to buy anymore, and the seller can also decide he doesn't want to sell him, or she doesn't want to sell anymore.
I would really suggest getting protection insurance, because if a seller does decide to drop out before exchange, they can legally do so, but it puts you at a disadvantage because you would have spent a lot of money on the house already, and the protection costs like £50. So I would rather pay that £50 and know that if that does happen, I can get my money back. I did eventually purchase the protection because I'll explain later on in the video, but my house was sold as a corporate sale. So the house was being marketed on like Rightmove up until exchange. So anyone could have really put in a higher offer than me and then got the house.
After exchange, you cannot back out. Exchange basically means legally you are obliged to pay or buy this house. So if you do decide to drop out after exchange, you will forfeit your deposit, and I think you do have to pay your fees. So once the contracts have been exchanged by your seller solicitor and the buyer solicitor, then they arrange a completion date, and the completion date is just when the estate agent or the seller hands over the keys to you. Usually there's 2 weeks between exchange and completion, but sometimes people do it on the same day. So that's basically the process, or the backbone, skeleton process of buying a property. It's a lot, never goes to plan. It's very different for everybody. I'm about to tell you the difficulties that I found and the things that made it quite difficult for me. Just a bit about my financial situation. I'm trying to be as transparent as I can without like revealing so much personal information. Skeleton sort of process that I explained to you, this is based on someone owning, you know, one job, one income, whatever. My situation was different in the sense that I wanted 2 incomes to be considered as opposed to just one. The reason, because my main job, I'm making a good enough salary, to be honest. I don't want to tell you guys how much, but I make between 30 and 40k. It wasn't enough to be able to afford the £255,000 house that I wanted. The thing with second jobs, right, is they don't take 100% of your second job. That's number one. So it's capped at like 60%. And number two, because my second job was a 0-hour contract, banks want 2 years worth of evidence to show that the 0-hour contract that you have is steady income. Second income was able to boost my annual salary up, which meant the lender was able to give me more money because they were factoring 2 jobs, if that makes sense. The reason that was a bit complex was because my 0-hour contract job, I only had 3 months worth of proof. Luckily, my mortgage broker again filled in the application in a way that the lender only needed 3 months, and they were able to sort of work out an average annual salary from the 2 pay slips from my 2 different jobs. Another thing that made my sort of mortgage process a bit complex was the house that I was buying was a corporate sale. So a corporate sale means that it's a company selling the house. So usually, traditionally, when you're buying a house, you're buying it off a family, but sometimes company can own a house for many different reasons. So it could be a repossessed house. Maybe someone took out a mortgage on the house before and they refused to pay, so the bank is taking the house from them, or maybe, you know, it's a company that's renting the house, or it's a rental company and they own the house and they want to sell it now. There could be lots of reasons why the company owns the house, but it's a corporate sale, meaning that a company was selling it to me. Usually with corporate sales, the houses are a bit cheaper because the company just wants to get rid of it. So usually those houses are at market value or a bit below market value. The downside to that is that you lose a lot of, not your rights, but the company is not obliged to give you any information about the house. So if you do your survey and you have questions about the house, the company doesn't have to give you answers. Whereas if you was buying off like a normal family, they should have receipts, they should have paperwork, they should have things to be able to answer your queries about the house. Another thing with the corporate sale is that we have to complete in 4 weeks. So from offer being accepted to completion, or exchange at least, it has to be 4 weeks. That was a good thing for me because it meant that my solicitors had to work quickly, because if it wasn't for that, I think my solicitors would have prolonged me buying this house, to be honest, because yeah, they were just those kind of solicitors. But they were really helpful, to be honest. And because that corporate sale put that clause in the contract that it has to complete within 4 weeks, my sort of from offer to exchange happened within about 4 or 5 weeks, which was really good, because like I was saying before, it can be a drawn out process and it can take like 2 months or 3 months for you to, from offer being accepted to completion, basically. Just to give you some rough timelines, I still remember some of these dates because it's just a monumental moment in my life. But yeah, so the offer for the house was accepted on the 7th of January, and I put in my mortgage application on the 8th of January. The lender got back to me on the Friday, which is quite weird because I was reading online that it can take about a few weeks for the lender to get back to you, but my lender got back to me within a few days and they were happy to give me the money, so that was amazing. So that was the rough timeline for me. I've been filming for a long time, so my brain is sort of like shutting down a little bit. I think I've covered most of the things that I wanted to, but if not, please just feel free to ask me questions in the comment section. I am going to be doing like a whole series on like mortgages and stuff like that, but just bear with me because I am still renovating this house and that is sort of my priority at the moment. So you're still going to get renovation vlogs from me, but it just won't be sit down videos talking about like the process until I've actually moved in. But yeah, I hope you guys have found this video useful. It's been a lot of information that I've thrown at you guys, but I hope it sort of gets the conversation going and it starts someone's journey. I love seeing young people win, especially young black people, especially young black females. So if you guys like this video, make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe, all of that stuff. Please help me grow my channel, because when I move into my new house, I'm coming at you with videos and videos and videos. Thank you all for all your love and support on all my renovation videos, all your kind messages on me buying the house, all your congratulations. I've seen them all. Yeah, stay tuned for all my renovation vlogs so that you guys can see how I transform my beautiful home. I'm gonna see you guys in my next video and I love you so much.